Hey, AFTERBUZZ TV fans, tune in now for the Into the Badlands After Show Season 2, Episode 3, Red Sun, Silver Moon.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, yeah. No, what? We're just gonna. You've actually come to the right place. This is not a mistake. This is actually happening.
It's not a mistake at all.
Leanne Rimes, you got to do it.
Two dudes and Leanne Rimes.
Exactly. I mean, what could be
The
more
sweet
badass
of Leanne Rimes
than those two things?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the Into the Badlands After Show.
Yes, it is.
Red Sun, Silver Moon, hence the Leanne intro.
Yeah, we were trying to find something with Moon in it.
Exactly.
There we go.
Clearly, what could fit this better?
What could not fit with that?
Yeah, especially since it's a guy's night right now.
It is. It's dude's night.
Yeah, Alexis had to work late, so she couldn't be here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But Mike and I got this.
Here we go.
Obviously,
Of course, we got it.
We might have Leanne kind of add some stuff in later on.
Throw
in
it
the show.
down.
Mike, where can the fans find you?
You can find me at Twitter, on Twitter.
On Twitter?
During the whole internet thing. You can find me at
The
Mike
internet
Kalinowski.
machine.
Yeah, the internet machine. At
Awesome.
Mike Kalinowski. That's where I'm
Awesome.
at. Yeah, bud.
Very cool.
All right.
Where you guys can find me at Hey John Blake. We will just jump right into the
Let's
episode.
go for
'cause
it.
was
Yeah.
pretty sweet. Although we didn't get like quite to the conclave itself.
Yes, yeah.
We kind of got they teed it up very well, which we'll get into. I do want to sort of start off with the very badass fight of like Sonny and Big B and like this new guy Nathaniel Moon. They just take on these group of nomads, and it was insanely tense.
I had that little moment of the Robin Hood, crossing the bridge and Little John's there.
Yes,
Tells him,
exactly.
you can't pass. And so it had that vibe to it, but just there. Gosh, we talk about it all the time, and I think everyone that watches the show, the fights are so inventive. Like every time you think you've seen every type of kung fu fight, whatever, this show, they just go and they do these ridiculous things with it. I'm just like, we've seen fights on the bridges where it's like you can't pass, pay the toll, and again, there we go, different.
Yeah, and I really like how, again, to kind of, badass this enough, I feel like we kind of detoured with Leanne Rimes. To bring it back, one of the most vicious fights that we've seen in the series in like as a whole, which I was appreciative of. AMC is obviously a cable network, so we have, it's remarkable what they're able to kind of do now.
Yeah.
In previous years, I think like HBO, like those kind of networks were the only ones that actually had movie quality.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
violence. That wasn't like dumbed down or made for TV. And this really like gives us that. I thought like there's a part where this dude was slammed on the ground and like just head crushed. And not only was that like super cool. It was something like I haven't really seen in a lot of movies.
Now, I wholeheartedly agree. Now, I watched, because I wasn't here last week, so I watched 2 and 3 together. So the one, I'm trying to think if it was this episode or not. He took a sword to cut the guy's head off, and didn't he kick his head off?
Yes.
Then? Okay.
Yes.
Am I jumping too far ahead?
You brought that
or was
up,
that in this fight?
Because that was in this fight.
Okay.
And that was
I
like
wasn't
right
sure,
afterwards.
Man.
I literally wrote down Moon decapitates is a salve.
Yeah.
And he literally decapitates the dude and kicks the head off. Just kicks the head
Goal!
off. Yeah.
With the dude's head.
Yeah, dude, that was so cool. So cool.
I'm curious to see this actor, Nathan Moon, right? The character.
Yes,
the character's name.
Nathaniel Moon.
Nathaniel Moon. I'm curious to see if the actor was a martial artist, because this show, I think Daniel Wu was a practitioner before.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but a lot of the other actors weren't. And this is a guy that didn't have maybe the training that everyone did. Like he's been a part of the show for a long time. I'm so curious to see if he was a martial artist, because he looked so believable.
Right.
And the thing I'm fighting with the other martial arts show that's out there, is you so know that guy doesn't know what he's doing. But so this actor, because he's a strong actor, I'm so curious to see if he was a martial artist and just happened to know was an actor as well, or if he was just an actor and they said, hey, we're going to make you look good. Because I believed every single thing that guy was doing. He was great.
Yeah, no, he was
Great
a really good
character.
actor.
Yeah.
Such a good character. I mean, he's seen better days at where we leave him.
Right. Yeah.
He's not technically dead. We didn't see him die, I feel like. So
You think so?
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's true. Yeah,
like he could come back.
Yeah, no,
he could come back.
That's
Like,
it.
Yeah. I mean, like obviously they're kind of best buds. Fast forward a bunch of stuff, which we'll definitely talk about. But when they have their final face-off, he ends with just his hand getting cut off by Big B of all people. So that was kind of a surprise. Who knew he had sword throwing skills?
Yeah, a giant sword.
Yeah,
it's like a scimitar he's tossing.
Yeah, literally, and like with pinpoint accuracy, he threw it like it was like a ninja star. But I mean, he's a big guy. Maybe it's like small to him proportionally. It's more of a throwing knife, although it was a very big sword. So.
Yes, yeah, it was.
But yeah, I mean, Nathaniel Moon, his character was super badass. I wish there was a little bit more. We kind of got a little bit of backstory. Obviously, we find out he's a clipper. He has many tattoos.
Was it 999?
Yeah, so 999. So close.
He has not found the person that's worthy of the 1,000.
Right. And I think he was intentionally not killing people so he could do that. Although he killed a bunch of people on the bridge.
That's true.
So maybe he's just being very selective over
what he's choosing.
Now, like, there's like a higher prereq.
Yeah, because I guess
for
the clippers that are clippers and enjoy that, not like Sonny, that's a mark that they it's a worthy kill. But
so maybe it's that. Yeah, maybe it's like more like actual.
You are worthy of all these other kills, so you're a nomad. You're nothing.
Yeah, it's just like more like collateral damage. Like you're like basically a fly.
Yeah,
I don't even recognize you as being a person.
I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to give you the satisfaction of remembering you.
Exactly.
That's true.
Which again is just more badassery.
Yeah.
Just straight up.
Of course.
But we learn a little bit about his backstory. I still want more because he's such a compelling character.
Right,
he's got like a great like gravitas, and sort of the first kind of adversary to Sonny that we've seen this season at least.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of what I loved is the whole. Didn't he say like we're brothers out here? There's we're all helping each other out, and I kind of like that. He's kind of this fall from grace clipper that's kind of now on his own and just kind of making his way, and whoever he meets is, or so we think.
Right. Well,
interesting.
It seemed like everything, like there were so many parallels that he drew with Sonny and like his life and like how it unfolded. And for Sonny to sort of see someone like that was like basically him looking at a future version of himself. He reveals that he had a family, or like a loved one.
Yes, and
a bit of a family, and came back, and they were like essentially murdered. And it was his fault.
He's basically saying we cannot have lives like that. It's not in who we are. Give up on that.
Exactly.
Sonny's not going to.
And he even tells him like to go further than that, and like not only like not think about that, but actively leave. And that is the best thing you can do. Like if you actually love them, you need to leave. Which is such a huge weight he throws on Sonny, because obviously he's been thinking about that stuff.
Yeah.
Clearly, that was his whole thought process when he was with Vale, and when she was pregnant, when that all was coming up, he was looking for a game plan to get them all out.
Yeah, but what's tough is because we, as audience members watching this, we know that Sonny's son is alive and being raised by the Baron and and Quinn, but he doesn't know that. Sonny has no idea about any of this.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that Quinn's still alive. I would think he thinks he's dead, right?
He totally thinks he's dead, because he even said
he doesn't
to, I think, Big B, he was like, I already killed my guy, so we're good.
So this is boiling up to, this is going to be, I have to forget sometimes as an audience member to look at it like through his eyes, because we do know, but it's like, this is going to be terrible. This is going to be horrendous.
It's not going to end well. I mean,
this is going to be.
Luckily, I think Sonny is stubborn in the right ways, where he, I think, believes that he is good enough to succeed where this guy failed, and that he can actually have it all. He can have his cake and eat it too. Well, and I believe him. I think Sonny can do that, because he is just super legit.
Yeah.
I say that now, but we'll see. I mean, it's not going to be an easy road by any means, but Sonny can do a lot of things that no one else can.
Absolutely.
Including beat this Nathaniel Moon guy, who's, his reputation precedes him. Like, he is known by Silver Moon, which is like.
And so they knew about it.
Yeah, they knew about it.
They had
He's
that
like
kind of moment of like, oh, it's you.
Right. Yeah. It's like he's kind of a legend, like a bit of a myth. He was, you know, big stuff back in the day. Then left, and no one knows his whereabouts. No one knows if he's alive or if he like is even real. He's kind of so mysterious, which is cool that they kind of met that face to face, and they're like, oh, okay, you're a real dude. Yeah, that's just
and you know, Nathaniel's kind of like, oh, I've heard, I've heard, you know, and so this could be a challenge. This could be my 1,000th,
right?
You know, and he almost had that lost samurai feel of him, where he wants to either die by someone who's worthy of killing him.
Yes, yes. No, I'm glad he brought that up, because he was such like, you look at who he is now, like as a person, as a man. Like he lost his family. He lost really the reason to live. He may have been regent. Like he's clearly not guarding a master, so he doesn't really have a purpose.
No, it's just
other than just kind of, you know,
existing.
Yeah, existing. He might help someone in need if he sees that happen, but you know, he doesn't really owe that to anybody. He's got no reason to live, and I think he's just tired. Like he's been looking for a way out, and almost wants to be confronted with someone like Sonny who is better than him, rather than get that one last tattoo mark.
And I like how they took their time, even though it was just the one episode. That wasn't the first thing after he saved him. It's like, you're the man who's going to help. No, it was like they had that bonding, those couple scenes before this, where the Nathaniel realizes like, okay, you know, you're not leaving here.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
It's one or the other here. And I was like,
yeah. No, I thought that was cool, because it seemed, I mean, the way they built it up seemed like he was going to be a more long or like pivotal character through a few episodes directly. Hopefully, again, he comes back maybe near the end of the season, because he could still be alive. Hopefully he is, because he's a cool character.
I would think Sonny is going to need his own army, so to speak. Because if he's Quinn's got his entire, you know, as we see, it's almost like a cult. Like now, it's not just the Barons and all the Clippers. It's like a cult he's kind of forming with these people, and now how they kind of all struck allegiance. We can talk a little bit later with the baptism, and they're all about you know, swearing to protect him, and it's just like, I think Sonny's gonna need people like him. I don't think we're gonna see the end of him. I think he'll be coming back.
Hopefully, and
that
would be
sword on his hand, with a knife or something.
Yeah, just like it's very like Jaime Lannister status.
Yes,
But I mean, what cooler pairing of like a duo to see Nathaniel and Sonny like back to back, like fighting everyone.
Oh my gosh, it'd be cool.
Literally, they could take down the entire society.
Because I mean, again, I don't know if the showrunners have an idea of, we want to go X amount of seasons,
right?
Because it almost seems like between what the Widow's doing and now trying to abolish the whole Baron and everyone being together, and then, you know, you got Lance Henriksen's character with that, what's going on. So, or does Sonny just want to get his, you know, get Vale and get the kid and get out of there and just, you know, live on their own? But I don't.
Yeah, I think
always be hunted.
Yeah, I think he wants that, but I don't think there's a way to do that.
Yeah, not in this world that they live in.
Right, and. You know, it's interesting because Sonny is just one man. You know, Nathaniel just adds one more.
Right.
But at the same time, the way things are going in general with all these characters, you know, they can definitely use strategy and kind of like ninja around to make it a more even fight. This conclave obviously looks like it's going to go south.
Yeah.
You know, what Quinn and everybody like he's doing, like if he engages them, he's gonna lose a lot of guys. You know, obviously his son Ryder has got, you know, like I feel like he and his dad have got to have a face off.
Now, I don't know if they've ever explained it, but where Ryder is staying, that is the same. It's supposed to be the same set and
I
from
believe
first
so.
season, because I know they're not filming different locations, so it doesn't look the same. They don't have that plantation feel, but because he had their symbol with the armadillo in that one scene, so I was like, I'm assuming that's the same. He's living in his dad's house.
Yeah.
So that's
no, I believe so, because you know when the widow was talking to like Waldo about sort of the plan, and Tilda was there, and they had that very awkward conversation about how she's not invited to the party. Awkward. But, you know, they were kind of going over the fact that Ryder, because he instigated this, he gets to host it. And surprisingly enough, because we never expect him to do something good or have a smart play, but he really thought this through, because he not only does he get to host it, so it's like home turf advantage, he also, like, the rules that are set up for conclave, every attending party can only be the baron or widow or whatever, and one their right hand. Yeah. And the hosting party obviously gets to have all of their guards.
Yeah, it's all that. So they do have the advantage.
Yeah. Big time. So that being said, the widow is super badass, as is Waldo. Right. They're going to be tough to take down, even if they're super outnumbered.
The only thing I didn't like, not that I had anything to do with this episode, I watched kind of the coming next week, and it kind of showed what goes down.
Right.
Why did you show all that? We didn't need to see this because it was going in.
Yeah, it was a bit, tip their hand a bit too much.
Yeah, if you're watching this, listening to this, and you haven't seen, don't watch the coming next week.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of gave a lot away.
It did. Spoilers.
Yeah, you don't know what had happened to get to that, but I was just like, wow, that's really
just so there's no there's no mystery.
I think we kind of
anymore.
Figured they were going to be shaking hands and walking out of there.
Right.
But that's a little, okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I think everything leads up to the fact where we assume it's not going to go well. Yeah. It's not going to be diplomatic.
Right.
But at the same time, I feel like there's other clips they could have shown.
Yes. Yeah.
To kind of keep the mystery alive a little bit. But yeah, they didn't.
No. And then also, okay, so I guess we need to talk about it. I am just not into the MK stuff.
Fair enough, yeah.
Because it's so segregated from our main storyline. Even though Sonny and Bajie are off on their own, we still feel it's driving towards Quinn and the widow and all of them and Ryder. But he's just off on this. I want to find my mother, and I want to have these dreams with the master. I'm just not digging that stuff. Maybe it's the mysticism to me. I'm not digging it.
It's. I don't disagree with you. Yeah. I think that it definitely feels the most disjointed out of all the other aspects, which is interesting because they cover a lot of ground. Sonny is way in the boons. Yeah. But he still feels connected. He's got a very clear path to Vale, connected to the Baron. The Baron obviously wants to take down his son and kind of get revenge for being pushed out. The widow right there with the conclave. So everything is very much so one step away. Yeah. Except for MK, who's, in Monkland and learning how to control his power, but also not. And it's a weird dynamic that he's having with his teachers. I think if they were more clear about that, it might feel more connected, or I feel like it's unintentionally mysterious.
Yeah, we still don't know what the point is. Are they trying to teach him to harness this to be a force for good? I don't know.
It's very unclear. I mean, whether what side of, I don't know if I want to say the law, because that doesn't make sense, but what side of good and evil are they? Yeah. Because, it seems like they're taking care of him. They're teaching him. They're trying to get him to control his power. Yeah. There's a lot of young people. It's kind of like a boarding school vibe because of all that. But at the same time, one dude tries to lead his MK's roommate guy. Yeah. Tries to leave, gets captured, and then they pump him full of roids to cleanse him of that wrongdoing.
Whatever they're doing,
which was interesting. The one thing I actually did see a connection to was the fact that they kind of punished this kid for trying to escape. Right. In a very similar, almost more harsh way than the Baron did. Because literally the exact same situation happened. The Baron had this young kid that was in their camp, kind of a soldier guy. He tried to leave and was caught, captured, brought back in, and the Baron just sort of he taught him a lesson, but it was more he gave him the power to get out of it. Right. So that was a very interesting dynamic to see him almost be more merciful than whatever the monks are, because they just all right, you're getting roids now.
I wonder
and that's what's happening
with Quinn. Maybe it's he has to build back up his power structure, and he's got to get people that he trusts. And it
Right.
almost seemed like a line of crap that he was saying, like, I could see you being one of the best Clippers of all time. Or maybe he does see that and knows he lost Sonny and knows
Right.
he needs to cultivate trust from an early age with these young people. So,
Right.
you know, he's got definitely limited resources, but who knows?
Right.
I thought he was going to kill him. But
Yeah, no, I thought so too. But it kind of reminded me what I forgot about the first season was that, you know, the Baron kind of rose to power by being this super, like,
yeah.
persuasive, like, charm, like,
Yeah.
you know, he kind of charms people. He's political in a sense where
Sure, he knows what to say.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of works psychologically.
Yes, I get.
And to get his enemies, because he can obviously defend himself and fight. You know, he's sparred off with Sonny even, but
yeah.
you know, I think he knows his greatest asset, his greatest power is that of his mind.
Yeah.
Which, ironically enough, is deteriorating as
That
a
was
giant
cool.
tumor. Yeah, that Vale's got some tricks up her sleeve.
So she
Got
keeps
some tricks.
replacing the X-ray with, like,
right, with an old one
that makes it look like it's going away.
Yeah. Super sneaky.
So the stuff
Vale.
I kind of missed, the stuff she's feeding him. That's just kind of basically like a placebo. It's nothing, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing that it may be like a painkiller because he hasn't had
Right.
the like migraine headaches that
Right.
like brought him to his knees.
Yeah. Like it's just
So I
kinda
think it's more of like
dulling the pain.
Yeah, like a sedative or something
Yeah.
type of exactly, dull the pain, kind of a just tackle the symptoms,
Right.
not the actual root cause.
Right, yeah.
Which she's just letting kind of grow and grow so she can make an escape. And it's interesting because on one hand that is probably the smartest strategy you could do in her position.
She's playing the long game because I
Right.
don't think. Now, do we know? Does she know what happens to Sonny? Does she know he's alive? Like, I'm trying to remember.
I think she is like hopes that he's alive. I think she. Yeah, I don't know.
Because I know I don't remember, somewhere in one of these episodes they talk about, have you heard back from the River King? And so I guess because the River King was the guy that sold
Right.
Sonny out, not really sold him out, Sonny kind of backed out on him by saying he was giving him MK, but
Right.
it wasn't. And so River King sold him out. So I don't know if she's trying to find information, if through him, if he's heard anything. Because she's playing the long game.
Right,
Because this
right.
is not gonna, he's not gonna die off within days. This is gonna take a while, but you know, she's thinking ahead. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely
smart. That's a
it's
smart
very,
play.
very smart to do sort of the long con. And we were talking about how she was kind of keeping him close.
Yeah.
In the last episode, and how she's kind of keeping some type of warmth. There are some boundaries that she's not letting him cross, but she is being a friend because she needs someone to protect her. She has a baby. She is not trained as a clipper, so she can't.
But then the awkward of like when they want to do the baptism of the baby, and it was baptism by blood, and it's the old way of doing it. But then they call that guy up there who was, I guess, copping a look when she was feeding the baby.
Exactly.
Which is kind of like, oh, that's awkward.
Yeah, it's super awkward. And he took care of that, and that goes to show that
was that an antler in the eye.
Right.
Oh, God.
Yep. That's a very bad way to go. But it showed how important what she is doing, that relationship that she's maintaining, is because these guys, there does not seem to be a lot of women around.
No,
gotta say, it's kind of a dude fest at the old West Avalon or wherever they're at.
They don't have. It's not like they used to. It's and again, now I'm curious. Why? Like, it brings up so many questions because I watched season 1 right before season 2 started.
Nice.
But so they snuck the Baron away.
Yes.
So Ryder doesn't know that he's alive either, right?
No. I think everybody assumes he's dead. So he's got the element
and
of
he's not
surprise.
really. And I like this because they're not trying to spoon feed it to us as an audience. But he's just kind of, he knows he's not at his full strength.
Right.
He can't make a play. So, because they live in some kind of crap area, whatever that thing is, they're kind of hiding out in.
They're definitely lying low.
Yeah.
And he's trying to either like recruit more
interesting.
forces or do something. I feel like his main motivation is to get back what he lost,
Of
which
course.
is his home, his son that he hates. It's the worst. It was funny, like, again, we keep talking about the blood baptism, but how he was so vocal about how, like, he didn't do that with his son, and he was like, I've been cursed.
It was just, God, it was such a terrible, like, not terrible, like, he's drinking the blood, that beard of his, and it's all just like the blood, and he's looking at Val. Val's just like, what the fuck? I got myself. What is this? I'm in right now. This is, but she knows she has to deal with it because of her son. And it's just like.
And he's been a good host.
Yeah,
I guess. I mean, he has protected her with the antler killing. He hasn't really laid hands on her aggressively. I mean, he's been handsy. But he hasn't he hasn't forced anything.
It was, and the baby's now named Henry. Is it Henry? Henry after her father.
Yeah,
who was his original doctor.
Yes.
And that season,
and like a great family friend.
First season when he killed, when he ordered Sonny to kill him, but he won't do it.
Brutal.
And she knows that he killed her father and mother.
Yeah, they have a complicated relationship.
To
say the least.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's such a good show. Such a good show.
Yeah,
because it seems like everyone is connected and everyone is at odds with each other somehow.
Oh, totally. It's a mess, and that's what's so interesting is there's so many different things.
Yeah.
And that's why the MK thing kind of lifts right out.
That's what I'm saying. It's like he's the one with no concept of who the mother is.
Right.
I don't really care who his mother is at this point. I'm like, I don't know. It seemed like at one point, like he was going to be the savior to end the Barons' rule over everything and the Barons, but I don't know if that's going to be the way it's going.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they teased like something of what they're trying to do or what like their greater mission was.
Yeah.
Because it right now at least doesn't seem like it's connected at all, and they're kind of they're drifting further and further apart.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe as he he'll snap back. But everything that's happening, meanwhile, everything that's happening
is
with everybody else is super interesting. And I mean, the Baron, he's so creepy in the back, when he was getting up and talking to the baby. He's like, it's such a weird relationship that they have.
And he's kind of losing it a little bit. He's he's one of those guys who love to hate. He's just creepy. And it's like,
Again, he's got a giant hole in his brain.
Yeah,
that's growing.
That thing is massive.
Yeah, that is not. It's like a fist size, just gone. So it's really interesting to see how that kind of affects him. And we haven't seen it affect him in a dramatic way.
Right.
But he's just like a weird person right now. He's just kind of
losing
floats
a little
around.
Bit, but,
but very interesting to see. I mean, it's compelling. Every time he's on screen, I'm like, what?
What is he gonna do?
I don't even know.
Because I remember when I thought he died in season 1, I was like, man, he was such a good villain. It's gonna be tough
I'm
to
glad
top
that
this.
they brought him
so
back.
I would assume that they always assumed he was coming back. It wasn't one of those ones like, we don't have a villain, so let's bring him back.
Yeah.
He would have gotten a much more, he is dead.
Yeah.
Like a decapitation or something. But
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we kind of go to conclave. Minerva and Waldo, obviously not Tilda. Although, I mean, I know they kind of made that scene when they told Tilda she's not coming, not coming with. They made it seem like clearly she was bummed. I get that side, but also I felt like Minerva was kind of doing it as it almost wasn't all bad for Tilda. Yes, you're not invited to this thing, which is kind of a slight.
Yeah,
but. It's because I need you here, and if things go down, you need you're the only person that can lead the thing.
Slighting her, it was almost more like
I need
Waldo,
your better place here.
Waldo's a negotiator. He handles this kind of thing. You don't. You're a phenomenal fighter, but if something goes wrong, you've got to protect everyone.
Exactly. It seemed to me more like a better strategic match. Of okay, actually Waldo's my number 2 now.
Right, and early on they had that great scene with the two of them with Waldo and Tilda when he's trying to sneak up on him and almost seemed kind of like a mentor-mentee relationship, which I liked. But then they were kind of adversarial. I'm just like, he's not trying to replace you. He's not trying. He knows he's like, my life sucks. I'm in this wheelchair.
He's old.
I'm trying to make the best I can do here.
Right, and it's you can't say that she would be it's so clear that she's not.
It was a terrible choice. She would have gone.
Yeah, exactly.
I love how she says
it's like a political thing. She doesn't even know what a conclave is.
I love how I love that where she was like, if anything happens to her, you're dead. And she's like, if this goes wrong, I'm dead. I'm not coming back here to deal with you.
Right. I'm not gonna say there's no situation where I come out of this.
I'm dead. I ain't getting out of this.
Yeah, exactly.
So I love that. I love his. I love that actor. I love the. Yeah, he's great.
Well, yeah, and just how he laid it out. He's like, I know everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody knows me.
Right.
This is not my first rodeo. I am like, it needs a political mind.
Again, I don't want to play catch up with this. How did he get involved with the widow? Because I'm trying to think back, because he was always with Quinn.
Right.
So when is this? Was it? Did I miss it in the first episode? I'm trying to think.
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, we'll have to check back.
I have to go back and rewatch again.
I don't think it was really established.
I don't think it was ever like. I think he was kind of left behind.
Right.
And kind of like once the whole the Quinn and all them that just kind of fell apart, and the wife left, and she went back with her father. So he was just kind of like, well, I think I got to make a deal with someone because I'm useful.
Right.
And he is a very useful.
He
person.
is. Yeah. He was regent. He basically trained Sonny, taught it like him.
So with the regent, because I remember with Sonny was talking that a regent is a clipper, but they're the Baron's like right-hand man. That's the regent
yeah.
position.
So it's like the Baron's right-hand man plus they're like the lead.
He trains all the clippers.
It's like the captain.
Okay, so
basically.
So that's the position by a person. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. And I think I don't know if the Baron was a regent, but I know he was like a colt, which is like a baby clipper.
Now,
and then he like killed.
And every
his
group, so it's established. I don't want to say like chess, but every of the groups of the families has a Baron, right?
Right.
Okay, but the widow's.
The widow, she's the Baron.
Kill her way into that? Because I remember that was in season 1. She killed her way into that because all with the oil fields, and then they didn't recognize her as a Baron, but now she has usurped herself as a Baron.
Right.
So she forced her way into the table.
She definitely is.
Yeah. So because that's what I'm saying. When we get into this conclave of everyone, I wonder if that's going to be, well, we don't recognize you as a Baron. You were not one of the original.
Well,
is it 6?
Well, I think the reason why she's a widow, I think her husband was a Baron.
Yes,
he got killed, and like she was like, I'm running things now, and they're like, nah.
Right. And she was making a lot of moves in season 1 that they were all like, you did this without consulting, you can't do this. So I'm wondering if now coming into this, because we've never had this meeting, because I remember there were a couple times in season 1 where Quinn had to kind of negotiate like oil fields and stuff, but they were going on like backwards channels, and the widow showed up, and so this is gonna be maybe the first time where they're all together, like what you've been doing.
Exactly.
No, this ain't flying.
Yeah, and like, it's pretty crazy.
But that's cool because now with Waldo in there, he's like, oh no, you have to recognize her as a Baron.
Yes. And I mean, I think a lot of people not only know Waldo but really respect him. I mean, Sonny was the most respected person ever. He was like the best regent, and he was trained by Waldo. Like Waldo, I wish there was some flashbacks or something of him.
That's true.
Just,
that'd be
kicking ass and taking names because I really want to know like what put him in the wheelchair. Yeah, like how that all went down. Because he is, I mean, he can kill people so well in the wheelchair. Right. Like imagine what kind of damage he could do out of it. Very cool. I mean, I really want to see sort of his backstory a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, the conclave definitely going south as Waldo had predicted. So that'll be interesting to watch. I really want to know what's also going on with Lydia.
Now, okay, because I watched both episodes last night back to back. Yeah. Her main stuff was the second episode. That's where the No Reds came in.
She was not in this episode at all.
Okay, but still, she's got to be forced out. I mean, that's their way of life. They don't. Only the gods can draw blood, and she was sitting there, and it wasn't like she was enjoying it, but I got the feeling like, and I know you guys talked about it last week. It's like that's who she is. It's in her blood. Yeah. That's the
she
two
can't
sides.
just sit by. Yeah. There's no way she can.
But she was.
Take on their ways of just like sitting.
But she was doing it completely to defend her people.
Oh, completely. And her dad. Her dad would have been killed.
I'm sorry I missed last week, but like to just sit there and if they're gonna get killed, they're just like, okay, the gods will it. Yeah. And I'm like, that's terrible. That whole group, that thing is awful.
Yeah, I would not. I'm like Lydia. I would not be able to get down. I mean,
that's your way of life, and here and now.
Yeah, so I mean, it's very, very.
She's one of my favorite characters from
she's
season 1.
Cool.
I think she's great. I think she needs to come back and. Who knows? Maybe she sides up with Sonny. Like I'm thinking about it now, and I almost want it to be like a Magnificent Seven with Sonny coming back in, and he's got all these people he's met on his travels. Right. Nathaniel hopefully comes in there. Baji, maybe he meets up with her. MK's got his powers under control. So then they're going to go and just destroy the whole Baron stuff.
Ooh,
like just all the Barons.
That would be pretty cool.
Level it and go back to kind of a way of life where they need to start over.
Yeah.
I'm shooting for the moon here with my predictions.
No, I like that prediction a lot.
Just kind of see. I love movies where it's like misfit groups all coming together that maybe they don't all get along. They're all from different backgrounds and different walks of life. I just think so far we've met so many good characters on this show that are just awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I kind of like the ragtag nature that it's kind of being picked up. Obviously, we have Sonny, who's like the best ever, which kind of leads the team. But I love that team of misfits idea, that it's kind of people that were pushed out and for the wrong reasons. Then they have to like make things right. And
it goes again to, I don't know if the team that trains them, but even like Nick Frost, big guy. The way he fights, the way they've stopped him fights, he looks like he knows what he's doing. That other show that can't make a guy believable as a martial artist. This show, that's how it should be done. Watch the show, everyone. This is how it, like, take your actors, and I'm sure he wasn't there for the whole, having much training, but even his fights look great. And they tailor to his strengths of being a big guy. But even, he's not that clumsy fighter. He still is like you saw with the sword.
Right.
He threw that sword like it was a dagger to cut that man's hand off.
And nailed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think the way things are executed in the show is so like seamless. Like the details, it's a great Nick Frost, for instance, great comic relief. They have him like being a horrible roommate, like snoring super loud. But he's also, like he's not just that. He is a tracker. He's like he knows the lands a lot better than Sonny.
Like a rodent he was eating or pulled from the ground.
Right.
To eat? Oh.
Exactly. Gross. But I mean, like he knows how to do those things. He was looking way through the wall. Like Sonny would not know where to start without him. So he is essential in that way. We were talking about how kind of everything fits together. Yeah. He is very well placed. Like he's intertwined within the story, even though he's a new character. He is very useful. Yeah. He's like an essential part of the team now. Yeah. And to see sort of all these different aspects adding to the story in a meaningful way is very cool.
Now, I don't know if I missed it, like an establishing shot, but the place where Nathaniel kept sending them, it was a church, right? Because the only reason I thought that, I didn't think it until the fight scene, and again, it goes to how great this team is. They had pews.
Yeah.
Stacked up, like, because it was like out of the way. It's like, oh, we're not doing this. But they stacked it up and then they fought on top of them. Right. So it was a way to incorporate an environment. It's not the normal church where we see the rows. I mean, church has been not used forever, so they just kind of stacked them up in a corner. But then they were climbing up them and off them, and they kept slicing through them, so that it was kind of like losing its integrity to break apart. So again, it was like I could see the stunt team going. I was like, okay, what do we got? We got a church. All right, let's put. What if these pews are not being used, so we can then fight up this?
Yeah, and it's it again makes sense for the world that they're in. It's kind of post-apocalyptic in a lot of ways. There's like construction scaffolding that they use, but also they kind of use the actual things that are still there. The pews we were talking about, like
right.
It was such like a Matrixy moment, like basically Neo and Morpheus fight. Where he like went down, like did like a rock star power slide underneath.
That was the one I was just kind of like, what? He at least need to run, but he just was like, whoa. But it was cool.
Slide.
It was great.
Nice, super cool. I mean, I love how creative they get with the fights. Fights really keep the show so fresh and entertaining all the way through. Like the story is great and deep, and I love that. Like it keeps me coming back for more. But the pacing is so well put.
Now, I mean, at the very end when his hand is cut off, of course they don't finish him off, they leave him. And then they take the sword. The guy had said, "You're taking my sword." There was no significance with that sword, right? Like,
I'm sure there is. There was one shot that kind of showed it. I mean, they highlighted the rings a lot.
Well, for him, it was like his personal sword, but it almost felt like they were taking it because it was going to buy them something later. I didn't know. I didn't go back to rewind and watch to go, oh, will this grant them passage through somewhere? Is this there to show that they beat him?
I'm sure it will, because I mean it was such a unique sword. I mean it was very cool, like scimitar,
unique design with the rings on it.
Yeah, the rings like drilled through. It was a strong weapon. Like we saw it cut Sonny's in half. And it had there was a cool shot of the handle. It just kind of like went up the whole thing, and it showed that there was like bones like grafted onto the handle. So I imagine it's has a similar prestige as Nathaniel Moon did as Silver Moon.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of a legendary.
That's
type
his
of
sword, and we've defeated him. Okay. All
yeah.
right.
I think so. Hopefully that comes back in a meaningful way where they use it and like,
or maybe
they recognize
when he comes back to help them. Somebody gives it to him. He's like, "This belongs to you."
Maybe. I don't
know.
We'll have to wait and see. Next week we'll hopefully have Alexis back with us.
Yes.
Where can the fans find you?
Guys, find me at Twitter. I'm at Mike Kalinowski. I'm here on AfterBuzz. I'm doing Taken, Into the Badlands, Iron Fist, and MacGyver, and also DC movie news.
Awesome.
Yeah,
a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, man.
Where you guys can find me at Hey John Blake. Tune in next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.